Hello, Ayakui, everybody. Give it a minute. Doesn't say I'm live yet. It's still loading. Okay, here we go, I think. Okay, I think we're live. Hey, Ayakui. For some reason today, my resolution is really slow and choppy. So forgive me. Technology is always making it difficult. Give a couple minutes here for everybody to check on. If we have people I can't see yet, logging on. Hey, Robin. All right, thank you. MacArthur from Bernie. Hey, sounds good. Video's good. That's good to hear. Thank you. It's really warm here today, man. It's nice and sunny. I'm like sweating. I wore the wrong shirt. I'm in long sleeve. Uh, Boy, it's warm. But it's a beautiful day here at Patrick's Point State Park at Sumag Village. Let me give you a little over the shoulder look of where I'm at. Hello, Washington. Good to see you. Glad you could make it to our Facebook Live on Sunday program. I really hope everyone is taking advantage of all of our programs every day at 3 o'clock. Our North Coast Redwood District on Facebook Live puts on our interpretations to bring our parks to you. So look for other interpreters at 3 o'clock every day. So, okay, here we go. All right. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about Yurok tools and the sophistication that is portrayed in how we had to like build stuff before we could build stuff. And I kind of refer to that like what came first, the chicken or the egg? So what came first, catching a deer or the arrow and the bow that's made by parts of the deer? We had sinew-backed bows back in the day. I personally don't own one. I will bring one in the future. But what I want to talk about today is that we have houses here, and we have tools. And in Yurok and Native American culture, everyone knows about the bow and the arrow, and that we were hunters and we gathered. But there was a sophistication that comes with being a person that is in a relationship with not just the environment, but like the tools that you use to engage the environment. Very, very, very sophisticated process, and I'd just like to share just a little bit about that today with you. Any questions, please? I'm going to try today to do better at answering questions. So last week, I kind of left saying, oh, I forgot I had this in my pocket. So this is an elkhorn antler tool. So in order to make our Yurok houses, we had to have tools, and we did not have chainsaws. We didn't have gas-powered engines. We had fire was our primary tool, sharpest tool in the shed. And then every year, the elk, the big men elk, the boy elk, dropped their antlers. And so we would harvest those antlers. We didn't even have to kill the elk, but we could find where they dropped their antlers and make tools. So this is a chisel. So I brought some contemporary tools that we also use today. This is a modern chisel, metal, plastic, not biodegradable, not organic, not sustainable. Okay? You can't just harvest these, go find it, and then make it in nature. There's so much like pollution that comes with making this tool. And then if this tool breaks, I just toss it away, and this tool's not gonna go back to Mother Earth. It's gonna stay around for way too long. This, however, shows the sophistication Native people have in our culture. We've always had it. For 10,000 years, we've made chisels that if we break them, they go back to Mother Earth. We don't have to mine or ore or even kill the animal to get this tool. So we had a really neat relationship with our tools. Not just, oh, I'm going to go buy one, and when it breaks, I'm going to throw it away, and it's going to hurt the earth. There are a process of, I have to watch the elk where they go. I'm going to need to know where they drop their antlers at, because a certain time of the year, they will drop their antlers, and you got to pay attention where the animals are at during that time of year to actually find the antlers once they've dropped them, to then make your tools that keep your houses together. So these chisels were used, I'm going to just use this table here as an example, not the house, as like you would burn and then scrape, and then burn and scrape, and eventually you get through the end of the board after burning with fire and scraping with elk antler. And that's how they cut their lengths to the redwood to build their houses. So it was a long process. It was a hard process. I've done it before with metal wedges, is what we use nowadays, metal sledgehammers. Traditionally, they would use oak and elk antler wedges for their tools, for their adze blades and their chisel blades. So, any questions so far? I don't see. Are there many Native people who practice a plant-based diet as opposed to hunting? I believe so. I'm not sure 100%. I do know that food is medicine. And so, for example, we are at Sumag Village here. We are on the coast, and the coast has access to seafood. And so, like the Indigenous crab, right? I like crab. Traditionally, not everybody ate crab. There was certain people that would eat crab, and because crab has a certain type of medicinal quality and power that we relate to, we understand. And so, plant-based, there might be rules about certain people's diets that they have to abide by to accumulate a certain power or lifestyle. So yeah, I imagine that there were people that did not eat very much meat. But that's a good question. I know that during our ceremonies, I'm going to talk a little bit about this tool when we talk about ceremonies, because there are tools that are used during ceremonial tools. And during ceremony, food is kind of like a tool. So when we, as Yurok people and men, go into ceremony, a lot of times a ceremony can be something like going on a hunt. That's a ceremony. You're going to go take the life of an animal, or even gathering berries could be a ceremony. Everything is spiritual. We have a connection, and we're in a relationship. There's that push and that pull with everything you do. And so when you engage that energy from the Yurok perspective, there's a lot of thought and heart and emotion that goes with gathering. A lot of times I heard the women and the men, when they'd go get stuff from the mountains, they would sing the mountain a song. They would sing the whole time, because they were getting something from the mountain. So they were constantly giving the mountain something: their heart, their energy, their love, their appreciation, their devotion, their respect, their honor. Before you take, you're always supposed to give. And when you're taking, a lot of times you're giving at the same time. And so in ceremony, to be the strongest spiritual person, a lot of times Yurok people, we would give up like meat. We would go on what's called a fast, where we don't eat something that has life taken from it. because there's rules on where you want to be strong spiritually. You kind of let go of some of the physical stuff in your world, and you become more spiritual strong. And red meat and like eating something that came from something dying, for example, if you're doing a healing ceremony, you kind of want to separate yourself or distance yourself from the energy of taking life, versus um, allowing life to be on its own path and not taking. So I've been on a 10-day fast before where I only drank acorn water, which is acorn meal ground and leached and then processed and then added to water, so that I wasn't drinking pure water and I wasn't taking any life into my system in preparation for a ceremony. So um, that's, I guess, a long answer to that question, is that there are reasons and people that eat probably just plants and not meat. Uh, Maybe not all the time, but for certain reasons, even I've done that. Does the entire village work together when making a house or structure, or just the family that's going to use it? Great question. I imagine that when you need help, you ask for help. I know that boat making is different. So when you make a canoe, the Yurok men, you put yourself into what you make. And what you make resonates your energy out eternally, forevermore. So what you put in is what you get out of it. And that resonates, it has its own energy, its own life, once you've completed it, and its own entity then. Houses are similar. Houses are big. They take a lot of work. I can't take care of a house by myself. Some of these boards are 30 feet long and weigh over 1,000 pounds. So there's no way that you can just have just your family lifting those big girders and beams and taking care of the structure. You'd have to have a community like to take care of a village and a house. So in 1990, it took two groups of Yurok men to complete this village here, and it took them about 2 years to complete. And that was, I think they had a group of 9 to 12 men with each group. There was two groups that came back to back, and it took them 2 years to build the structures that are here at Sumac Village. So even with contemporary tools, it takes a lot of effort and help and more than one family to do it. So I have a question from Nancy. It says, last time you talked about Yurok language, I was wondering which of these would be the word for rope. Pek, pekchich, or wesquelex. Are the first two more like string or thread and the last one thicker? Wow. That's really good research you did. Pekchich is all I know about rope. That's the one that I couldn't think of when I was trying to say it last week. And so that's a good question. I don't think I know the answer. I do know that they made iris rope. So there's iris fibers in plants that we would harvest at certain times of the year and twist into string, like for our necklaces, our équerre, or for tying fabrics together, like making clothing. A lot of times they would use this iris rope. You wouldn't really use that so small for the houses. So I don't know if halich, the hazel rope, would be called something different. That's good. I'm gonna have to look that up. What does acorn meal taste like? Is it yummy? It's an acquired taste a little bit. It's kind of bland. If you process it right, it's just like plain oatmeal, kind of like it's a plain ground nut, and it's just doesn't really have a taste. If you don't process it right, it'll be very, very bitter. Or if you just crack an acorn and think, oh, I'm gonna pop it in my mouth and chew it up and swallow, you're gonna be bitter. Oh, My video went out. I don't know if you can still hear me. My video went out. You might be able to hear me and see me, but my video is not working right now.